This is music, and this is an excursion demise through the flesh to the soul, while dying to live and ultimately weaving the apocalypse. I figured it would be fun to just go through the full-length studio albums by the Danish technical thrash metal band Invocator. They are a really, really good band, and they were really big on the local scene back in the day, but it seems like people have kind of forgotten them, which I think is a shame. First of all, before looking at those, if it sounds like there's a coffee machine brewing somewhere, it's not. It's just a cat having a chill time in my lap, so that's why. Secondly, I want to say thanks to Metal Marty Mac for giving this channel a shout out in one of his recent videos. Really appreciate that. I'm sure most of the people watching this channel are already familiar with Metal Marty Mac, but on the off chance that there's somebody somewhere watching that doesn't know Metal Marty Mac, go and check out his channel. It's a channel devoted to collecting metal music on physical media. So he has lots of cool update videos showing off lots of cool vinyls and CDs and things like that. He showcases primarily traditional heavy metal and hard rock and some power metal and lots and lots and lots and lots of thrash. He, unlike this channel, he highlights also quite a lot of modern metal. So that's one of the reasons why I like to watch his videos, in addition to them being just generally really good and informative. I really like watching him talking about and showing kind of like more modern contemporary metal releases on vinyl. So it's very educational to me. It's one of the channels I use to keep up with more contemporary metal. So definitely, if you like metal music, go and check out his channel. Obviously awesome stuff. Anyways, let's get down to business. Invocator, a Danish technical thrash metal band. They have always been a technical band, like musically technical, advanced, but they've kind of changed the style up a bit over the years. And to be honest, I don't know what the status is right now. I don't know if they're still active or if it's been, they call it a day completely. It's one of those cases where it's been like lots of revolving doors. The main kind of man in the band is Jakob Hansen, who's probably most well known internationally as a successful producer. He's worked with the likes of Pestilence. Another quite well known person that has been involved in Invocator is one of the drummers, Per Møller Jensen, or Per M. Jensen, I think it is. He was in The Haunted for quite a while, a very accomplished, technically skilled drummer. And yeah, it's a bit tricky to keep up with the lineup changes. Pretty much every album, and we're only talking 4 studio albums, has had a different lineup. But let's just get to it. Let's look at the studio albums. The first one is this one here, Excursion Demise, out on Black Mark Records. This is an OG I have here. This one is also released back in the day on vinyl. So we're dealing with thrash metal. That's what the back looks like. We're dealing with thrash metal, very technical thrash metal. In terms of the compositions, there are lots of changes going on, lots of switches going from fast parts to not so fast parts. There are even kind of like some kind of very small micro breaks that have some weird acoustic guitar just popping in bursts of that. Works really well. The riffage is also considerably technical, but what really characterizes this album, apart from the technicality, is how fast it is. It's really speedy, up-tempo metal that we're dealing with here. So really fast, technical, I would say borderline progressive maybe, thrash metal. There's no bad song on this album, and this will characterize pretty much all of their albums, actually, in my opinion. Some of the great tracks on this album are the title track, Excursion Demise, the opening track. Forsaken Ones was one of the songs that we really liked rocking out to back in the day. Schismatic Injective Therapy. It's great. Occurrence Concealed is also another great song. This is great, up-tempo, fast, aggressive, mind-bending, technical thrash metal. Also, the cover artwork is great, I think. Kind of scary in a way. Got this kind of like a blue, icy feel to it, which is kind of in contrast with the aggressive, fast thrash metal, but it does kind of add a kind of frosty feel to the music itself. That's at least what happens to me very often, that the graphics will have an influence on the way I kind of perceive the music, which is why I really appreciate physical media. It's kind of abstract as well. There is kind of like a ceremonial feel to it, though, because you have these kind of like monk-like figures with some weird stuff coming out of their faces. Great artwork, I think, and it goes well with the music, although there's a contrast between the iciness of the color scheme and the fast, aggressive feel of the music. But Excursion Demise, check it out if you like fast, up-tempo, aggressive, technical thrash metal. The next one is Weave the Apocalypse, also out on Black Mark, and I'm also pretty sure this is an OG, because it has to be. I bought it when it came out. So Weave the Apocalypse, they changed the lead guitarist. So on this one here, it was Jakob Schulz, whose solos were like blistering, kind of Slayer reminiscent, blistering, fast, aggressive. I mean, suits the music very well here. Here they replaced him with Perle Hansen, whose solos are more technical, more melodic, I think more planned perhaps, without knowing. They slowed down quite a bit here, so most of this is mid-tempo thrash metal. I think they might also have down-tuned their guitars a bit, because it just sounds darker and heavier. And this is another album that has no weak track on it. My favorite is probably From My Skull It Rains, is what the song is called. Doomed to Be is another favorite, actually. That was the big hit of the album. We all loved that one back in the day. And one challenge was trying to learn how to play the main riff of Doomed to Be. You also have the title track, Weave the Apocalypse. This is great stuff. This is still technical thrash metal. Slightly more... It's not yet groove metal, but there is a groovy feel to it, but it's really heavy sounding, although it's mid-tempo. There are some up-tempo parts. There's some complex riffs. As I said, some nice, tasty, melodic guitar solos. Because they slowed down, the drumming really takes the center stage, because now Per M. Jensen can start doing all sorts of hi-hat things and, you know, more details, which is a bit difficult on an album like this, where it's just, you know, full speed ahead. So here, this is where the drumming really comes into play. It's of course the drumming is essential here too, right? But here it sort of gets into the limelight. So Weave the Apocalypse, for my money, Weave the Apocalypse is a better album than Excursion Demise, but that doesn't mean that Excursion Demise is not good, right? We're talking like excellent album, an album above excellent. That's the level of excellence, I guess we're talking. Weave the Apocalypse, great album. They followed it up with Dying to Live, which is out on Progress Records, and it's not the Swedish label Progress Records, it was a Danish label. They changed their name to Die Hard Records, and it might be because of the Swedish label with the same name, I don't know. I think they had a new bass player who sort of jumped on board here. They still have Palle Hansen on lead guitar, still Per M. Jensen on drums, and still Jakob Hansen, of course, on vocals and on rhythm guitar. I actually think he also plays some solos, as far as I remember. But here, they have taken their music in an all-out groove metal direction. And this album, I think, is a good example of groove metal not sucking per se, because, I mean, back in the 90s, a lot of thrash bands went in a groove metal direction, including the band I was in, actually. And a lot of new bands started out like kind of like groove metal bands. So we ended up with a scene of bands that all sounded like second and third and fourth tier Pantera and Machine Head. Not this album. This is completely original and innovative, for sure. So it's groove metal. The riffs are groovy, but it's technical, progressive groove metal. It's still up there. You know, it's still a matter of showcasing your musicianship. The songs are complex in their compositions. The drumming is still technical. We're still talking like mid-tempo, even heavier here. There's no, as far as I remember, there's no kind of like upbeat part in this album at all. There are elements of influences from other types of music kind of sneaking their way in, especially in the drumming. There is, it seems to be a lot of influence from Latin music in the drumming. Especially in the final song on the album called Hole, there's a lot of like really groovy and really Latin music inspired drumming, and it works perfect. I would say it's perfect on this album. Among the highlight songs, it's a bit difficult again because all the songs are good in my opinion, but Dying to Live, the title track, I think, the next track called Kristendom, which is the Danish word for Christianity. Astray is a great song. For a While is also a great song. And of course, Hole, which is probably the best song on the album for my money. So this is progressive groove metal. And don't let the groove metal tag scare you off. It's progressive, technical, good groove metal with lots of great musicianship and songwriting going on. And I think this is an even better album than this one. So above excellence, even more above excellence. Right? And I don't remember exactly what year this one came out in. It doesn't say on the back, but there will be, probably already has been some text popping up in the bottom saying that, but it was from the 90s. Then a long time passed because Per M. Jensen was busy with The Haunted. I think he had joined The Haunted already, and Jakob Hansen was busy being a successful producer. The other members had sort of put the life of a professional musician behind them. But then in 2003, this one came out, Through the Flesh to the Soul. And the only sort of member that was on these albums, and the first one, that's Jakob Hansen. It's a completely different lineup. So this one is from 2003. I picked it up in 2010, I think. So I'm not that familiar with this one. I haven't listened to it as much as the 3 previous ones. I've played those to death. Not so much this one. But this is kind of like modern, still technical, but modern thrash metal. There's still like a groovy feel to it, but not as much as on Dying to Live. There is... they play around with polyrhythms in some of the songs. It's still technical. It's pretty good, I would say, but I haven't, it doesn't connect and click with me as much as these 3 do, obviously, right? Because it came out late and I bought it much later than it came out. But it's definitely good. I think if you like kind of like modern 2000s thrash metal, definitely give this one a chance. I think a great catalog of just 4 very different types of thrash metal releases, but they all showcase a very high level of musicianship and songwriting craft. I just want to mention this one too. This is the early years, so this one compiles the some of their demo material from before the first album. So if you want to check that out, do that as well. It's out on RRS Records, and there might be some songs. Yeah, I can actually see that already. You got Occurrence Concealed here, right? So Persistence from the Memorial Chasm. So you got songs from the first album, but I think these are demo versions. To be honest, I just realized when I found this that I've actually never given this a listen. So I think that's going to be one of the things I'm going to do one of these days. So I would say if you like technical progressive thrash metal, certainly pick up one of these, maybe all of them. It's really good stuff. And also one of the reasons why I decided to do this video is that these 2 albums here are going to be reissued on vinyl on Hammerheart Records. This one was out on vinyl and CD and maybe even cassette back in the day. This one I think was never officially released on vinyl, so if you have a vinyl version of this, it is probably a bootleg version. But now there will be like some official reissues out on Hammerheart Records. I've already reordered them, of course. Pre-ordered them. And as far as I know, Jakob Hansen has even remastered them. So that's pretty cool too. But anyways, that was a much longer journey through 4 albums than I thought it was gonna be. Again, I want to say thanks to Metal Marty Mac for giving this channel a shout out. And go and check out his channel for sure. It's great stuff. Thanks for watching.